Hey, I'm Christy. This is Transplanted Homestead. Welcome to my falling down greenhouse. So when we moved in here in July of 2022, this greenhouse was mostly just completely overgrown with weeds. There was the bench there in the back corner. There were a couple of mostly dead potted plants the previous owner left behind. There was a volunteer tomato plant doing pretty well in the corner, and lots of blackberry bushes, because this is the Pacific Northwest and these things grow everywhere. So when we first got here, I was excited to have a greenhouse for the first time ever, but totally overwhelmed by the weeds. It was also the middle of summer. It was very hot, definitely very hot inside the greenhouse. I didn't quite know where to start, so I just kind of ignored it for the whole rest of the season. So in the fall, I just came in here, laid down a bunch of our moving boxes just to try to suppress some of the weeds. At least I could walk in now. And then we had a shed project. We needed to clear out part of our shed, which is not far from the greenhouse. And I was pretty much forced to move everything, or almost everything garden related, into the greenhouse, just so it would stay dry for the season. So to be honest, this project is still totally overwhelming to me, but I want to at least be able to move my tomato starts in here now that the weather's getting a little better. It's not dropping down to freezing temperatures in here at night. So I'm going to clear out what I can and try to move my starts in. New location. Now we're in the garage. I thought I would show you what I started with for starting these seeds, so you can see kind of why they may not be doing it. All right, well, this is what I got going. Got 4 grow lights total, a few heating mats. I started all my seeds weeks ago for tomatoes and peppers in here, and they did well at first. They germinated pretty quickly, but since then they've just been kind of looking sad, and I feel like maybe it's just too cold in the garage despite the heat mats. I'm not really... Nice messy garage, still moving in. Anyway, there are just too many variables for me to know yet what exactly is making my seedlings have a hard time. I've grown plants from starts for many years in California. I had a potting shed there and I used grow lights, but that room just didn't get cold. It wasn't a greenhouse, but it had a big sliding glass window and plenty of sunlight and warmth came in during the day, no matter what time of year it was. So they always kind of just did well here. So today, or here, things have been a lot different. So my plan for today is to up pot my pepper plants, which are the most stunted. I haven't up potted any of them yet. I've had a handful of tomatoes up potted, but I really didn't have the space to put them once they were in larger pots. So I just kind of did a few and put off the rest. And so I've got a pile of soil out, or potting soil out front that we had brought in from a bulk landscaping supply company. And I'm just gonna pot up those plants out there and then put them all in the greenhouse and see how they do. So just to show you what I'm talking about a little bit up close, these are the tomatoes that I managed to pot up maybe 2 weeks ago. We also have a couple of tomatillos in the mix here. I believe I have 8 varieties of tomatoes, or actually no, 7 varieties of tomatoes and 1 variety of tomatillos this year. I had 1 6-pack per variety when I started out. Here are the tomatoes that did not make it to potting up yet, and they definitely need it. And then here I have my 8 varieties of peppers, and they're just really, really looking rough. Maybe you can try and focus, see these habanada peppers, which are habaneros without the heat. They are just like yellow, really like bright yellow. The new growth looks really, really bad. Others are turning purple at the edges. There's also this white, even though I've been exclusively bottom watering, this whole time there's this white mold or something that's been growing on the top of this soil. And this was seeds, or actually it wasn't seed starting mix, it was bagged potting soil that I used to start out. I can't remember which brand it was, but I don't know if that's to blame or there wasn't enough heat where they were. I just really don't know. There's just too much change going on all at once for me to pinpoint what's happening. So like I said, I'm going to up pot and see if this helps them at all. All right, so I've got maybe a third of my peppers potted up. And these are the tomatoes I'd already done, so I thought I would tell you about the varieties I've chosen this year. I'm mostly doing varieties I've already grown before and that I know that I use frequently. And so it also helps to know what to expect from certain plants since I've never grown in this climate before. So if something goes wrong, at least I know that the plant isn't to blame. There's something else going on. So Cherokee Purple are my very favorite for slicing tomatoes for BLTs. They have so much flavor. Love those. Roma Grande I like a lot I love Mexican food. So I like to make salsa, and they pretty much use Roma tomatoes for everything from what I've seen. And Roma Grande is different than just regular Roma because it's an indeterminate tomato, which means it'll just keep growing and growing taller. It doesn't put out all its tomatoes at once. So I kind of like having, you know, fresh tomatoes to go out, pick from the garden when I need them. It's also a great canning tomato. Carbon is a lot like Cherokee Purple. I grew it last year. Couldn't really tell much of a difference. Mortgage Lifter has been a favorite for a long time. I'm mostly growing that for my mom because she really likes those. Those are like a pink, large slicing tomato. Rosella I had in my garden last year in California before we moved. And I never got to see the harvest because we moved away in the beginning of June. But the plants are doing great then. I have no idea what these tomatoes taste like, but I'm excited to try them this year. And then we have Spoon, which looks really bad right now. I've never grown this variety. Again, no idea what its normal growth habit is, but I'm mainly growing this one for my chickens because it makes little teeny tiny tomatoes. I've never grown them before, and my plan is to plant them out right next to the chicken coop on the outside so that we can toss over a couple branches of, you know, tiny tomatoes for them to enjoy. And then I have Cherry Roma, which is like your basic grape tomato. And I think, let's see, Roma Grande, Mortgage Lifter, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's all. Okay, and then I have tomatillos, which you have to grow. I've grown them once, about 2 years ago. You have to grow a minimum of 2 of those because they're not self-pollinating. So I have 2 here and I have another there. So I should at least have 3 to put in the garden. And then for the peppers this year, let's see. Again, I love Mexican food, so I use a lot of poblanos. I use a lot of Anaheim. I have like 3 different varieties of jalapenos here this year. And then I also have, new to me, except that I did put it in my garden that I never got to harvest last year, is shishito. And so that will be, I'm excited to try those. And I have Ajvarsky, which is like a pointy, kind of like the same shape as a poblano, except it's a red sweet pepper, not a hot pepper. You would use it like a bell pepper. And then I have habanada, which is another one I tried to grow last year and never got to see how it turned out. So it's like a habanero, but without the heat. So I'm interested to try that. And I won't be planting any of these things in the ground until, I'm pretty sure I'm aiming for the middle of May, which might be on the cautious side, but again, I don't know what to expect. I want to give them the best chance to produce. I don't want anything to be, you know, caught by a late season frost or something. So I will be waiting as long as I can to put them in the ground. All right, I guess that's it for today. Not it for me. I still have lots to do. It's one of our rare sunny days that we've had in a while. So I will be doing lots of outside things, hopefully potting up more of my tomatoes that are still in the little 6-packs. And then maybe cleaning out the shed. Who knows? Anyway, see you later.